Well, welcome back, everybody. Buffalo Bill Szabo is back from Gutters, Insulation, and More, not only to take your calls on general home improvement questions, but to also talk about how your insulation is working in your house. And Bill, as we've noticed, take a look at that fiberglass. That fiberglass is telling you something, isn't it?
That's right, Linda. First off, all insulations are not created equal, so we have here air coming through fiberglass, through foam, and through cellulose. Now you notice the foam, the ping pong ball, isn't moving whatsoever. That's because there's no air coming up through the foam insulation. Fiberglass is used as a furnace filter, so therefore there's lots of air movement through there. In fact, I picked up a sample of fiberglass from one of our homes that we took a look at, and if you take a look at the fiberglass, you can see how it's discolored. So there was some air underneath here. In other words, there was a plumbing vent that was coming up through here that was not air sealed, and what happens is the fiberglass, because it doesn't stop air movement, it basically filtered out the dirt. So if you go up into your attic and you see that parts of your attic, the fiberglass is discolored, it's more than likely not mold, it's just dirt, and that's telling you that it's not performing as well as it should. Now on a day like today, everybody'd like to just crawl inside of the refrigerator and get cooled down. Well, guess what, gang? That refrigerator is foam lined. So Gutters, Insulation, and More can create a refrigerator phenomena with your house by insulating the walls with a foam product. Now if you call us up and you ask to be insulated with fiberglass, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. There's better choices. This is 1800 technology. This is the 21st century. We're an Energy Star approved contractor. I want your house to perform as a system, so therefore I want to recommend the best products that are in the marketplace, which we do not subcontract, we put it in ourselves. So no fiberglass from Gutters, Insulation, and More.
How old is that, Bill? Do you have any idea?
From what I was told, the customer, this is probably less than 10 years old.
Oh my goodness,
so
okay.
It's not that really that old. What we do use at Gutters, Insulation, and More are two alternatives. Number one would be dense packing cellulose. Now when you dense pack cellulose, you basically compress it into the wall cavity. So it's like getting 1.5 gallons of milk into a 1 gallon container. The bad news is when you compress the cellulose, the insulating value drops, but it does help to reduce air infiltration. So if you use fiberglass, it is a furnace filter. It will not stop air movement. If you use cellulose, it will reduce air infiltration by about 40%. Conversely, that means 60% still getting through. You walk out there today, it's a bad hair day. The wind is blowing. Heat wants to go to cold, so the more effective your thermal envelope is, the better off you're going to be. Now with foam insulation, the aircrete foam that we use for your exterior walls, we guarantee in a typical install that even though we're doing a blind cavity fill, at least 98% of that cavity will be full of the foam. Foam stops the air movement, so you're not going to get that blast of air coming through your electrical outlet. Aircrete will not burn, period. It's magnesium oxide based. It's a cement foam, ultralight, whereas obviously fiberglass does smoke and burn, and cellulose does smoke and burn. Aircrete is like a good human. We should not smoke, and we hopefully won't burn.
Okay, we have a phone call for you, Bill. Hello? Hi, caller, you with us?
Good morning.
I don't hear them.
Happy birthday, Pop. You're going to be 83 this week, so happy birthday. Thank you.
All right, let's take a look at these insulators again. And you were saying that there's still the majority of probably Western New Yorkers have this one in the house, right?
Fiberglass is the best-selling insulation, and unfortunately it's due to effective marketing and consumer ignorance. That's why in New York with the Energy Star program, we have lots of help economically. If your electrical supplier is RG&E, Niagara Mohawk, NYSEG, you qualify for Energy Star assistance in some way, shape, or fashion. Either a 10% rebate from the Energy Star program, thanking you for your participation. There's low interest financing available, 4.99% or 5.99%. And also there's subsidies available. You can see two applications on the screen here of how we install the aircrete foam into various exterior wall surfaces. We can pretty much insulate from the outside any type of exterior excepting the stucco finish. This next graph shows you how to properly insulate a basement crawl space. Notice that the insulation is not put underneath the flooring, but what we've done is we've covered the dirt floor with plastic to create a vapor barrier to stop moisture transmission, and then we foam insulated the exterior walls so that there's not going to be any air leakage coming in from the outside. A very, very effective way to insulate a crawl space. The worst thing you can have in a crawl space on a day like today is vents, because heat wants to go to cold. It's cooler in the basement crawl space than it is outside. It's going to get into that space and you're going to have condensation, moisture. I was in a Wilson's farm today. They were air conditioning and there was just moisture rolling off their windows because of the moisture condensating on there. So it's really important to make sure you have an effective thermal and air barrier to minimize mold and to maximize your comfort.
So Bill, if you were to do this in someone's attic, it would be perfectly safe to go back once the job is done and they can store things in their attic.
Yes.
Because you won't have a moisture problem at all.
On a day like today, if your attic were foam insulated, the temperature in the attic would be 30 degrees cooler than what it would be with conventional insulation. So that would mean that your air conditioner isn't going to have to work as hard as what it is.
Right.
I was driving into the studio today and I heard on the radio that we're about taxed to the max as far as our electricity is concerned. So if we have a brownout, come on gang, get it together. Let's get Gutters Insulation and More out there and we can help.
All right, Bill. So let's leave everybody with all this information that they're going to need. For more information for Gutters Insulation and More, 695-1010, 695-1010, and that way you can get in touch with Bill and his whole staff. And they are working hard this summer despite the heat, getting ready for this winter, so you'll have a more comfortable summer and certainly a more well-insulated and a better winter as well. It works all around the year, just like your house works as one unit. Bill, that's great. Thank you so much for this information, and we wish everybody to stay cool out there for today. We'll be back at 4 o'clock, and we're going to introduce you to the new president of Time Warner Cable. So you can phone in your calls by all means. Stay cool. We'll see you at 4. Well, everybody, Buffalo Bill Zabo is back. He's had a very busy summer out there working, but you know what? He's back today to show us what he's been working on to actually take your calls, because Gutters Insulation and More is all about, Bill, your home working as a system, right?
Exactly.
And that's what we're about to talk about today. We do have insulation here. We have furnaces. We have windows. It's all together, right?
That's right. Just like your car is a system, folks, if you try to start your car and you have a problem where you have a dead battery, car's not going to run. Well, the home actually is a system also. But unfortunately, with remodelings and things, it's not really built as a system. So what we try to do as a home performance Energy Star expert is come out and evaluate your home. Start in the basement, check the furnace, check the boiler, check the efficiencies of them, because if that's the weakest link, then you're going to have problems with it. So that's part of what we do. We check the furnace filter. Also, we check the condition of the hot water tank. We check the rim joist areas to see if there's air leakage coming through there. We check the windows to see what the windows are doing. We also check the exterior walls of the home to see if there is any insulation whatsoever in the walls or not. We go up into the attic. We check what's up in the attic crawl space area to see if it's ventilated properly. So if you have conventional insulation, ventilation, and cellulose and fiberglass, they have to go hand in hand. It is a system. If it makes more sense to foam the roof deck, then obviously if you're going to store things up in the attic, then using foam would be the best choice. So there really is not one pat answer for every home. That's why our BPI Energy Star analysts, which are also trained by myself, will come out and give your home a physical to see where the needs are. The other portion that a lot of people miss is to replace the lights in the home. If you replace an incandescent light bulb, which is a 60-watt light bulb, with a compact fluorescent light bulb, you're going to reduce your energy consumption of that light bulb by 75%. It's going to have the same illumination, but when you put your hand on it, you're not going to burn your hand, and also it's going to last you 10 years. So I did that recently on my home when the girls moved in to go to college. My electric bill looked like the Empire State Building for that month.
Ouch.
I switched out the light bulbs. The electric bill was reduced $30 each and every month. They've paid for themselves. It's a real simple measure. We don't have an abundance of energy. We need to conserve so that we're comfortable, and also we can minimize our energy consumption.
You know, Bill, light bulbs is such an easy fix, and we don't even think about it.
No.
I mean, but that's one of the first things you can do yourself today.
Absolutely.
Is change out your light bulbs.
Unlike other insulating contractors that are in the Energy Star participation, we not only offer cellulose insulation, which cellulose is basically ground up newspaper treated with sulfites and borates to make it fire resistant and mold resistant. Now you can see that even dense packing the cellulose, it's not going to stop the air infiltration in your home. Foam insulation will stop air infiltration, and air infiltration is the biggest robber that you have in your home. So when the air hits it, it's not going to penetrate it, so it's going to make the insulation more effective. You're not going to feel the drafts at the electrical outlets in your home. It's just going to make your home more comfortable and more energy efficient.